Welcome to the SDA Housing Podcast, brought to you by NDIS Property Australia. Before starting this episode, we need to provide a general disclaimer. Information contained in this podcast is general in nature only. It does not take into account the objectives, financial situation, or needs of any particular person. You need to consider your financial situation and needs before making any decisions based on the information in this podcast. And you should consider seeking independent and professional advice for your personal circumstances. All right, let's begin.
Hello everybody, my name is Minh and I'm your host for today from NDIS Property Australia, and you're listening to the SDA Housing Podcast, a show that explains, highlights, guides and brings awareness about all things SDA in this ever-changing NDIS world. Today's special guest speaker is John Tomarchio from Opalyn, Opalyn, who is here to talk to us about the SDA apartments for improvability in Chermside, Brisbane. John, how are you today?
Very good, Minh. How are you?
Good, thanks. Mate, who are you and what do you guys do there at Opalyn?
We wear numerous hats. We're property developers and also builders. We've been developing property for over 35 years and building for 30 years. So we're not new to the game. A little bit new to SDA, but this is our second SDA project that we're finalising. So it all works well.
When you say finalising and second, do you mean your second one you've started building on, or
Yep,
what?
second one we've started building on in terms of finalising the certification, detailed designs, etc., because as you know, there's a lot of detail in the construction of these SDA apartments.
Sure. So before we go into the whole Chermside project here, tell us more about how long you've been looking at this sector for, what are the challenges you've seen, what's held you back, or what made you step forward into it? Yeah.
We've probably never shied away from anything new. We're cautious in what we do. SDA came about probably 2-3 years ago. We had a site and we were asked to build SDA on it, which was new to us. But once again, like I said, we weren't scared to do it as long as we've got detail that we can work with. Our construction and subcontractors have been with us for many years, and we all work together to get a good final outcome.
That's great. And did you talk to many providers in the market the last 2-3 years?
Only a couple, not a lot of them, but yeah. We've found rumours to be pretty good. I've dealt with a rumour before. So no, not a lot of them.
And the project that we're going to talk about today is the Chermside one. Tell us more about the acquisition of this site, the DA, the designs, the total composition of SDA and non-SDA builds, the other aspects of the development itself.
Sure. We've had the site for over 10 years. It was actually some surplus council land when they did the road widening on Hamilton Road. The site went up for auction, and as we had other properties in the street that adjoined this site, it was one of those sites where we had to have it. So we've had the site for 10 years and now we've decided to get a design. So we went through the DA process. We decided to put an 8-storey building with 2 basement car parks. It's consistent with the other buildings in the street. It consists of 52 apartments, 12 being SDA with 1 OOA, and the remainder being one bedders, 2 bedders and 3 bedders. We find having a diverse mix of 1s, 2s and 3s works quite well in this area. The walk score in this area is in the very high 90s out of 100. So it works well with anyone with disabilities, whether they're in wheelchairs, whether they're still actively with movement. Owner occupiers works well because once again, it's the walk score is just so good. And also with investment units, it works very well here because once again, everything's around here. We've got the RSL, we've got Westfield Chermside, and we've also got close to medical here at Chermside.
John, we had a little podcast in our office last week, and Grace was talking very highly about Chermside. I think you don't give it enough credit. Can you please give us more, our listeners, more understanding as to how wonderful this site is, how close it is to the shopping centre? Why is this location a great location for participants, particularly because these are improved livability apartments, one bedders that you're looking at for these 12. Tell us more about the macro point of view of the area itself. Why is it so good?
The area is so good because you can walk everywhere. You don't need to get into a car to go anywhere. You've got medical, you've got an aquatic centre. With the aquatic centres within 200 metres of the development. Westfield Chermside's within 100 metres of the development. You have the bus zone, which is at Chermside Shopping Centre, which is another 100 metres away. Everything is within walking distance of this site, which makes it very unique to other areas.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Chermside had a big major renovation about 3 or 4 years ago, I think. And the shopping centre is a massive Chermside Westfield Shopping Centre, isn't it?
Yes. It was done approximately 4 years ago. And yes, it's huge. I think if you walk from one end of the centre to the other end, it's like 600 metres in a straight line. They added on a lot of new retail and a lot of food outlets, whether they be restaurants or whether it be fast food. But there is something for everybody at Chermside.
There isn't many negatives about this site from a participant lifestyle point of view, is there?
No, absolutely not. Opalyn started investing back in 2004. We built the first residential high-rise building in Chermside. Chermside's very much the Chatswood of Sydney, basically. It's very comparable to Chatswood. We saw a lot of pluses in this area when other builders were sort of shying away at first look. Once we started here, obviously other developers have come into the area, but we've always felt strongly about the area and we've invested heavily in the area because we believed in it.
So, John, my next question is there retail space in the building downstairs or gym and rooftop stuff? Tell our listeners more about the actual the lifestyle within the building itself.
There's two commercial areas on the ground floor that face Hamilton Road. When I said Opalyn has invested heavily in Chermside, one of those commercial spaces will be taken up by Opalyn. That will be our head office in Chermside. Mm-hmm. The other is a smaller space, which will be taken up by a small commercial tenant. As far as what the building has a swimming pool and a barbecue area. That's on the ground floor and that's accessible by all the participants and all the residents of the building.
Gotcha. And where will the OOA office be in the building?
OOA is situated on the ground floor, and they'll have a direct intercom system to all of the SDA apartments.
Yes. I think it's great how you guys are doing 12 improved livability apartments. There's been too many emphasis from developers to only build HPS or fully accessible wheelchair apartments across Brisbane. And I think that the IL category has been neglected somewhat. And I think it's great that you guys are doing something a little bit different in a high demand area.
Yeah. Look, I think I think when developers are looking at some of these categories, that they're chasing big returns. For us, it's not about the returns; it's about the location and making sure that you got a happy customer.
Are there many competitive stock to yours in the Chermside area?
There's a couple of SDA buildings, smaller buildings. However, the difference between those buildings and ours is to get from those buildings to, say, Westfield or Chermside Services Club, you need to cross main roads. The beauty of where Pinnacle Residences Opalyn Place is that you don't cross any main roads to get to those facilities.
Yeah, you're right. Safety is very important. And if you have participants who are going out on the street, just out and about, it's important for them to be close to home. And with the RSL and the pool, the aquatic centre, and the shops, the cafes, the bus stops, everything's within walking, 5 minutes walk there. I think that's very important for a participant and their families to know they are in a safe area. And overall, John, would you agree that Chermside is a pretty safe area overall?
Chermside is a safe area. There's the nightlife at Chermside, and it doesn't matter what night you drive through here at, say, 6 or 7:30 at night. There's a lot of people, and they wander through the pathway between the Chermside Services Club and Westfield Chermside. It's quite astonishing to see that amount of people out every night, Monday through to Sunday.
Yeah. Is there much of a nightlife in the Westfield Shopping Centre itself on the edges there, where the restaurants and dining precinct are on the outside downstairs at the front?
Yes, the restaurants upstairs, they're all open, and there's food and beverage restaurants up there, so they're quite good, and they range. There's Italian steak places, there's Thai places, there's many different restaurants up there, which is good. And then the Chermside offers entertainment as well as food, which is, it's all within walking distance, which is just fabulous.
Yeah, it's a nice big event cinema complex as well upstairs as well. Yeah, I remember.
Yes, which has all the gold class, which is unique for Chermside.
How far is the site from the city CBD?
9 kilometres in a straight line.
And how many minutes on a bus?
I've never taken the bus. However, I would suspect that it would probably be 25, 30 minutes in a bus.
I mean, well, that's probably 15 minutes in the car then, wouldn't it?
Yep, straight up Gympie Road.
Yeah, it's not that far at all. And the inclusions within the apartment. Tell us more about what's inside the apartment from a investor's perspective. Is it, you tell us more about the inside of the apartment inclusions.
Sure. Vinyl plank flooring throughout, except for the wet areas. The wet areas do have non-slip tiles. The walls are tiled in the bathrooms and in the splashback of your kitchen. Your kitchen's got stone top and stainless steel appliances. So quite nice inclusions. The colour scheme is it would go with any furniture that anyone has. So it'll work very well for any type of furniture that goes in there.
Did you find that you had to do much variations or changes to the design of these SDA apartments compared to the normal one-bedders in the building?
Yes, it's step-free. So we've got the no threshold. So when you walk out to the balcony or go out into the balcony, there's no step. There's all great drainage on the outside of your sliding door. That's obviously different. And then there's no steps at all within the apartment, being showers. There's no bars, obviously, but no steps. The other design changes is just minor things, being kitchen. just to comply with the SDA guide.
So of the 12 units that you have for IL category, you're having 4 for sale, is that right?
Yes, that's right. 4 out of the 12.
And our listeners or investors can choose any of the 4 in the 12, right?
Yep, correct. That's right.
Wonderful. Any final words of advice from you to our investors in terms of the process? If they want to put forward their expression of interest, what is the process from here moving forwards in terms of paperwork and time frame, completion, and everything else?
Okay, I'll start with completion. Completion, we're estimating to be June, July 2023. It's a very challenging world at the moment in construction, just with materials and labour. That's our best estimation at the moment. And look, we've had a lot of our subbies for a long time, so we would expect that a lot of our guys do the right thing and give us the service that we require. As far as the process goes, yes, an expression of interest. Once the expression of interest comes through, we're happy to do subject to solicitors' approval with $1,000 down. Just to secure the apartment, and then a contract can be drawn up.
And once the contract is executed and counter signed as well, what's the time frame for deposits and everything else?
Generally 14-day deposit. And once that final deposit's been paid, the apartment goes unconditional, and then there's no other money changes hands until we get a final certificate from our SDA certifier and building certifier to ensure that the building has been built in accordance. And then usually it's a 14-day settlement from there.
Okay, so let me just reword that again so we're all on the same page. I decide to put an EOI in. I pay $1,000 deposit to the solicitor trust account, to the EOI in to the agent, which is our company. That gets sent to your lawyer, sent to you, you approve it, and then how soon after that will the contract be issued from the solicitor to the buyer?
Within days, basically.
Okay,
Once we get the details on the EOI and the $1,000 deposit, that's when we start the process of getting the contract drawn up.
Gotcha. So then I take that contract to my lawyer. We go through over the next 7-10 days, back and forth, reviewing it. We're happy with it. We sign it. We send it back to your legal team.
Yes.
We'll give it to you. You countersign it.
Yes.
And then from there, it's 14 days to unconditional. Is that right?
From the contract date, whatever the contract going to be, it'll be 14 days from that contract date.
Unconditional. And then from there, at 14 days, I would need to pay my 10% deposit.
Yes. So 14 days from the contract date, the deposit gets paid.
Gotcha. There's no need to get finance. Oh, sorry, it's not subject to finance. It's because it's only 9 months away completion. It's too far off. That's fine. And then what else is there to worry about? Nothing else. We just wait till completion in July next year. That's all there is.
That's right. And what I'll say to any investor looking at investing in SDA in Chermside, that it's the old 3 words that always get said in real estate: location, location, location.
That's great. That's I think if investors or our listeners want to see read more information, John, is there a website of the project?
Yes, there is. The website is pinnacleresidences.com.au.
Gotcha. And on there will be the floor plans, floor plates, the renders.
Yes.
Great. Now, my final question is: is there 2 types of designs of the 12 units, being the 50 wide and the 61 square meter one? Is that right?
Yes, there's a Type B and a Type E.
The prices for those, the range?
They range $575 for one type to $585 for the other type. The difference in the price is one is an eastern facing apartment for $585 and one's a western facing apartment for $575.
And so they have nice views then?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Wonderful. Now, any final words of advice from you as a developer who's in the SDA space now? Any words of advice from you to a listener who's thinking about investing in this? I mean, I think it's a great product because it's so cheap compared to the $1 million house loan packages around Australia or $1 million apartments in Sydney and Melbourne. People who are a little bit cautious or conscious of the pricing, I think this is a good way to step into it at a low entry price. What's your feedback or advice you have for our potential investors?
I would say do your research, research our company, look at the Opalyn website, see what we've done, research the area. The area is a fantastic area, but your research will show you that.
Do you have many other sites in the pipeline the next 2-3 years that could be also SDA?
We don't have any other sites currently. I just want to get this building. We're the type of developer that we only like to do 1, possibly 2 developments at the one time. Anyone that does more than that, you start losing control. And because we're a family business, we like to keep control of our quality.
John, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. And we look forward to helping you get a few of the EOYs on the table to help these investors consider improvability as an option, as an apartment in the Brisbane market for SDA.
Great. Thanks, Minh. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, mate. Bye. Cheers.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure you are subscribed and following us so you can keep in the loop with all of our upcoming episodes. We would really appreciate it if you could leave us a 5-star rating, a written review, and to share this podcast with those that could benefit. Until next time, catch you on the next episode.